What's going on, everyone? I'm Jade. Welcome back to Jade's Plants and Bonsai. Thank you guys for stopping by. I hope you guys are doing absolutely extravagant out there. So today we'll be uprooting these jade cuttings, and I'll be explaining what I did to take care of them, and we'll also be repotting them. And so without further ado, let's get right into the video. I'm going to go ahead and talk about what I did to care for these and propagate them. And so starting with how to make a cutting. So simply just cut a branch off of your dwarf jade, and the less leaves on that branch the better, just because when it has a lot of leaves, then the cutting is going to try and supply energy to those leaves, when in reality it should only be focusing on the roots. It just makes it a little easier, and the cutting is probably going to have better chances of surviving and actually growing roots. When making your cutting, you also want to make sure to leave enough space at the bottom so that the plant has room for the roots to grow, as well as stabilization, because that's also going to be very important. When planting dwarf jade cuttings or Portulacaria afra cuttings, in my experience, I can usually just plant them right away without having to wait for them to callus. However, that is not at all the case with Crassula ovata or just the normal jade plant. Those, I would most definitely wait for those cuttings to callus over and dry out before I try and plant them. Every time that I've tried to plant them right away, they've just died. I've had no success with that, so just keep that in mind. So let's talk soil. The mix that I use is not complex at all. It's simply just a mix of peat moss and sand. For me, peat moss usually works the best for growing cuttings. However, I do encounter one problem when using it, and that is if I don't water it for a few days, then it tends to become like hard as a rock, and the water kind of just floats on top, and obviously we don't really want that. But by adding sand into the mix, we pretty much completely prevent that, and the water is able to flow very smoothly through the soil with ease. But if you just want to use peat moss, you're more than able to. It still works. The only problem, like I said, is that the water sometimes doesn't absorb. So lastly, we'll talk about watering. So when your cuttings are first starting out, you're not going to want to water them like you would any other plant. You're going to want to give them very little water, because after all, they don't even have roots. All you're going to want to do is grab a spray bottle and just mist any foliage and the trunk, and then you're going to want to put it on the jet mode and just blast the bottom a few times, and that should honestly be perfectly fine. And that's pretty much it for watering. Easy peasy, right? Just don't overdo it and you'll be fine. You can usually tell if a cutting is going to make it just by its appearance. So a cutting that is looking healthy will have plump leaves, or the leaves will plump up after a few days of being planted. Or, it's not gonna start to shrivel up or anything like that, versus a cutting that is most likely not gonna make it is gonna start to wilt and droop. It's gonna look really sad, and it's gonna be really easy to tell that that cutting is not gonna make it. That is honestly fine by me if not all of the cuttings make it, because I would just have way too many. So I'm pretty much done talking about the care for these, and so I'm gonna play a time lapse of me uprooting these, and I'll just be back when I have them all out. So there we have it, guys. Here is all of our nice and healthy cuttings. The root development is not too bad whatsoever. I'm pretty happy about that. And we only had a couple of them that looks like they aren't gonna make it. As you can see, it's a little bit shriveled and doesn't exactly have any roots, so I'm not sure if those are gonna make it, but that doesn't really hurt my feelings. So I'm only going to be repotting these two on camera, or else this video would be years and years long. And so let's get to it. Alright guys, so here we are with our first plant. It's the bigger one of the two, and so I'm going to be putting it in this gray, I believe this is a 5 or 6 inch terracotta pot. You guys know me, I love my terracotta pots, and so let's go ahead and start to fill in some of this soil. And I'm using a very fast draining soil, as I typically do with jades or dwarf jades. Any type of succulents, I always use a very fast draining soil. So let's go ahead and fill this sucker up. It's a mix of what looks like pumice, bark, some probably potting soil or succulent soil. And so that seems like a relatively good height in my opinion. So I'm going to just continue to fill it in here, just like so.
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to find my bigger scooper, so it's taking way longer than it should, to be honest. But that's alright.
Anyways, how was your guys' day going? Let me know in the comments if you made it this far. Say Dwarf Jade if you made it this far. I don't know. But there we go. I'm gonna fill it up a tad bit more actually. And that should be about good. So there we have our first plant, nice and potted up. And last but not least, we have our little plant, which I think will turn out very cool in the future. So let's go ahead and get him potted up, using the same soil as last time. So let's go. And boom. Surround him nice and well, just like that. Grab a little bit more to sprinkle in, and there we have it, gamers. Boom! Alright guys, so that's pretty much going to conclude our video. Here's our two plants we did on camera, and I also potted up the rest of the plants, and I think they came out pretty good. You guys can be the judge of that, but in my opinion, they look pretty cool. Obviously, they're not very much right now. It's going to take quite a bit of time for them to actually become a bonsai, but I'm going to do my best to try and take care of them and make sure that they can reach that point. Thank you all so very much for watching. I appreciate each and every single one of you guys, and thank you for all of the recent support. We just hit 300 subscribers, which is absolutely mind-blowing. I never thought I would even make it this far, but thanks to you guys, we're able to. So thank you guys for supporting me and sticking with me. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in the next video, so peace out.